Creo que ahí estamos. Creo que sí. Let me see. Welcome everybody. Hashtag Quickie News. Hashtag Friday edition where we do a topic that's going to entertain you. I'm your host, Nachin Gon. You can find me on Instagram and find all the crazy memes that I put up. But the idea here is to bring you some sort of different entertainment where you basically just have fun in a different way. You look at life and you look at the things that are happening in life and we analyze them in a different way where you basically look at it from a perspective that doesn't have any inhibitions. It's more open-minded. So without further ado, tonight's topic is going to be a great one. We promised you that we're going to bring you the topic of what is a sugar daddy, what is a sugar mama. And there's a story that we're going to do before we get into a topic. We're going to do a little bit of Quickie News where we bring you the most relevant news of the week. And we basically cover the topic that, let's kick it off with. But before we do, let's thank our sponsor, iSellAutos.com, where they can find you any car you're looking for at a great price. They offer financing. Visit them at iSellAutos.com. And let's get into this. We're supposed to have guest host Edith, but she went to go eat some chorizo, so she couldn't make it, and it is what it is, as they say. But let's get into it. We have the first story that is basically that Mexico has been considered the number one country in the world when it comes to having sugar daddies. It's a new trend by a new website. It's called Seeking.com, and they basically arrange meetings between rich guys and girls seeking assistance. We're going to get more into that and get more into detail as we speak about the topic once we do our first Quickie News. But pretty much it's going around the world. You can see the story everywhere. And you can see the man all proud. He's like, my pal, I got the money, We're going to dissect it a little bit more. We're supposed to have somebody from that crew that is actually doing it join us, but she was out making some money, so couldn't join us, but we'll get into it. Let's get into it. Without further ado, here in California, it's crazy. Things are beginning to kind of open up again, and the number one thing that everybody was waiting for is Disneyland. Theme parks are open after the COVID pandemic is coming to an end. Well, sort of, and people are urging hey man, each other to do something, and they're buying ridiculously high priced tickets to get into these parks. One of them is Disneyland. They had a waiting list, and a lot of people, just smell the coffee, They couldn't do anything about that. But basically everybody's trying to get into these places, and I'm like, man, don't go crazy, bro. You might get COVID again, and things will go down the drain again, cabron. But another person that kind of got into a crash, sort of a crash, is Bad Bunny. As you know, Bad Bunny is one of the most successful reggaeton artists right now. He's doing a tour next year, 2022. But his tickets went on sale this time, and everybody, was like, I got the stimulus. So without further ado, let's go waste it on Bad Bunny tickets. I think the least expensive ones were $900. I'm like, really? No mames, I can buy a computer with that. Talk about me turning into a señora. Well, that's what it is. People are going crazy, so he crashed the internet. Ticketmaster got totally shut down because people were just going crazy. There was a girl doing a TikTok, and she was putting her space, you're number 25,000. Oh, you're number 10,000. And blah, 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 blah. Degrading to the last moment where it says, okay, you're number one. And she was like, oh my God. I was super hyper and dying for the tickets. And then the system crashes. I'm like, no mames. Go watch YouTube right here. We have plenty of entertainment at China and Friends. Well, let's continue the Quickie News. It's back talking about, that's another theme park. Pinche Universal Studios también, they already are opening, and they say they have new rights. That's the end of that story. And the health officials are saying that with all these things opening up, sports arenas and all these areas where people are going to be meeting, the one thing they're not going to allow in the NBA games is that they're not going to allow people to say boo or scream. So pretty much You're gonna go spend your money just to go eat a pinche hot dog and to look good with the sancha, you know? That's all there is to it. Damn, this is a crazy story. Stanford is working with, Pfizer to develop a super, I guess, new vaccine. Super because they want it to be super fast, so it can be ready for kids. They said they're doing it as kids as young as 2. Man, it's crazy the way this pandemic has really hit every age group, right? But it's also crazy that, thank God, not a lot of kids are known to have that disease because their blood is new and it's a new organism. But I don't know, the times we're living in, they're crazy, man. They're crazy. Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, let's continue the stories. What's happening here? In Mexico, Mexico is known for having some of the greatest products ever. Nopales. Nopales are cactuses. And within a Mexican dish, it's very common to find them. And they're very popular because they're populated mainly everywhere. You can get them, and most of them are free, and if not, you buy yourself and you cook it with some chile rojo. Well, with that being said, they're putting a trademark on this one. They're trying to register in Jalisco the pitaya. Pitaya is kind of like a tuna, like a cactus that comes out of the cactus, the yellow, red things, and you eat them. Because they're saying that in China, le quieren hacer piratería. No mames. They're genetically trying to create fruits from Mexico as piracy. They're basically kind of like breaking them down, looking at the gene sequence, and kind of recreating it and creating artificial fruits just because of the way people love them and because of the flavor and what they do. So, man, markets are kind of evolving to the level where now the new conquest of countries says, you know what, I copy you and I take your best ideas and I make them into kind of like a craving for everybody, I get them fiend out. Yes, so much. Here we go. Without further ado, the topic of the night is what is a sugar daddy? What is a sugar mama? A lot of people think of that as an old term that was created back in the 80s where, girls would have boyfriends and those boyfriends would take care of them. And they knew that it was a mutual understanding where there was going to be an exchange of a conditioned relationship where it was mainly based in having sexual relations between each other without any strings attached. Well, come to now, you have a new website called Seeking.com, and that's what they're offering. They're offering services for men and women that really want to go out there and kind of like get their brocha wet, like have an affair or have that ideal young girl be your girl or that young guy be your young guy, because in the women's section, there's a cougar side where the cougars are those older ladies that have the money power, the buying power, and these young guys that want to come up and have a lifestyle where they might be just gym guys or like good looking guys, or they want to make an extra buck, or it's a fantasy, and they get into this exchange where the idea is that the older partner, whether it's a woman or a man seeking a woman or vice versa, a guy, right now it's just men and women. I don't know. It might be gay at the same time if you're looking for a same-sex partner, but the idea is the same. A person that is an older person is looking for a certain criteria in a partner, whether it's an open relationship, whether it's a sentimental relationship, according to Seeking.com, or it's a mutual understanding relationship where both are going to be very explicit with one another. So there's arrangements. Once that arrangement is done, these girls get a payment plan. But before they get to the level, they have to get to a point where they're going to meet with this person and see if they click and see if they have that chemistry and they can work it out. The girl that we're supposed to have here tonight, she actually went out with her sugar daddy tonight, and it wasn't planned. He just called her and he told her, look, I had a stressful week. You want to hang out? This gentleman's a doctor, very high profile doctor, very successful. And to him, this like, from what she told me, it's more like a fantasy because she's a Latina and this is a white male. Not that there's any racism involved, but he feels like he cannot have that in public. So the arrangement is that they're bed buddies. They spend time together. They go out to dinners. He gives her a good time and mentorship on how to evolve in her career. She is right now seeking to be a model. And, there's a lot of steps that need to be taken to get to a level. So that's the idea. This person is behind you, is pushing you, is taking you there, and is moving those pieces for you. At the same time, they're getting that emotional connection that they're lacking in the real world with somebody. So it's kind of like fictitious relationship where fictition becomes reality because you can afford it and you make it happen, and everybody's happy because it's an even exchange of goods. Some people call it prostitution. Others say, you know what? No, it's just another profession. But the critics say it is considered prostitution. Why? Because you're exchanging your body for a monetary value or any other value that you might attach to it. So given that fact, there's a lot of criticism, but nevertheless, it's very underground in the sense that most of the members are, very private about their movements. And that's what they promise within that arrangement, that everything's going to be like a mutual agreement, that everybody's going to be like, hush, hush. Don't say anything, no digas nada, cabrón. So, with that being said, surprisingly enough, this week the news revealed that Seeking.com was reporting that Mexico, amongst all countries in the world, next to Venezuela, next to Spain, next to the United States, next to China, is the number one in supplying these services for girls. And after I did the research and I started talking to the people that are really inside that game, I realized that we are living in some crazy times, as you can see, where it's becoming more of a legal way of approaching your body to a connection to somebody. And it all comes down because I guess you can say social norms that have been dictated to us from the past generations where, traditionally you had to do this to be happy, to find a person. And, there was the marriage, agreement, create a family, be happy. But in between, something cracked where a lot of the first, I guess, generations of those matrimony ceremonies between two individuals became arrangement statuses. So there was a point where things started cracking when the older generation that created that started dying. The generation that inherited that was there because of respect and tradition with their elderly parents that put them into that, and because of monetary value. But then a lot of them found themselves like, hey, you know what, this is not for me. So they broke away from it little by little. Hence now we're in the place where still kind of breaking apart, but it's still taboo. And it's a generational gap right now where you have the generation that it's younger saying, you know what, it's okay to sell my body, to provide my body to somebody for an exchange, because unfortunately life gave me a big disadvantage and this is my only way. This is my ticket out of the hood. It is what it is. And the crazy thing is that this lack of connection, because of these marital, I guess you can pronounce it like that, marital arrangements from the past, have brought us to a point where we find individuals that are very dissatisfied with their current state of living or being traditionally, their conditioning that they had been brought up with, to the point that at this point, they don't know how to approach a real woman. They don't know how to talk to a real woman. I had encounters with friends that are very wealthy, friends that have it all monetary wise. And the thing that I found common amongst all them, which is the status of the Seeking.com, is that they don't feel worthy of themselves to approach a woman without offering something. And I also see the other side where, the average Joe gets a lot of women. Why? Because they use their natural characteristics, which is being themselves. Guys that take out the girl to the beach and they know that the girl is a very simple, humble soul that doesn't need the moon and the stars. in a fancy way to be happy. They'll eat a burrito next to you, and I'm one of those guys that I'm lucky to have somebody like that. But we are living in crazy times because now it's another taboo that's cracking through the whole walls of generations is women seeking young guys and willing to pay for that service, whether it's money, whether it's career advancement, or whether it's any other way they can help the guy. And the guy's okay with it, you know? It's more of a arrangement for him to be happy. Hence, most of the guys are lazy. You know? They're like, yo soy un pinche cemental. I could just be that horsey, but to each his own. But all I can say is that we are living different generational shifting points. A lot of people know this as a paradigm shift, where all the elements of that scene, of the sequence, are way different. They're taking it to another level. Everything changes. They say that every 10 years there's a paradigm shift. And quick side note, today, for instance, I got a message from a friend from college, and I was talking to him, hey, what's up, blah, 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 blah. But I noticed that his tone was very different. And I kind of like went in there and I asked him, I said, wow, it's crazy how some people do change in life, right? And he says, yeah, change has to happen because of all the stumbles in life that you hit yourself with, I'm like, yeah, but you shouldn't really become, I guess, an a-hole with the people that you kind of left your past in the past with. In my opinion, I'm the kind of individual that I'll still be the same person that you met throughout life. I find those people that are not like that, in the sense that they're very, how can I say, changey. They never find themselves. It's always a change. And to a certain degree, I agree that evolution is key and change is a must. But I think essentially inside, what we're all lacking in all this whole paradigm shift movement, twirl, as my baby Bella says, is that we're not finding ourselves. We're trying to find ourselves through others, through experience, through memories, through fantasies. But is that really what you want? Maybe. And that's cool. Or is it better to really just find yourself and find that person that can give you that? Maybe I'm old school, maybe I'm traditional, but I think that it's all within. You get what you want if you really want it and it comes to you, but there's always a price to pay. So with that being said, I want to thank you for joining me in these topics that I'm going to be bringing you. Sometimes I'll have guests, other times I won't, but what I'll have most of the time is sincerity. And I hope you can join me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where I bring you different ways of looking at life, whether it's through Quickie News, where I make it with more humor, or whether it's through a topic that is real and palpitating to me that I would want to learn about and share with you. And, I'm not trying to do this to be famous or anything like that. I do this to feed my passion, my world, my heart, my being, which is speaking to people and kind of like telling them a illuminating story that happened to me, that taught me a lesson, that allowed me to see a different world. This week I had a chance to live through so many experiences, and one of them was being around, I had to do the research, people that are into that. And I saw that they are happy when they do it and they get the benefit from it. But I also see that they're missing, and they're missing themselves. So I hope if you're watching this and you feel lost, you can, little by little, try to create or find a way that can lead you to who you are and what makes you truly happy, without the inability to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and believe in what you want to do, but don't be influenced by those that think that doing some crazy things is fun. It might be, and to each his own. Some people might like it and they say, you know what, I'm just living life and experiencing it. Great. That's the beauty about life. That you can do whatever you want, but as long as you don't hurt others. Respect people and go along the way and have a good journey. I'm yours truly, Nachingon. Hopefully you can join me. Like I said, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Follow me on Instagram at Nachingon. Nachingon. And espero que tengan un pinche buen fin de semana y sean sinceros with yourselves. Se me cuidan y muchas gracias. Partir el queso. Believe in yourself.